Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. My name is Don Wagner. I'm an Orange County Supervisor. This is my district, but I am proud and thrilled to welcome all of our veterans into the 3rd District. I am proud to welcome all of my colleagues on the Board of Supervisors here into the 3rd District. We have been supporting this site as a veteran cemetery for years now. Those folks in the front, because those folks in the front row put this site and this project into the county's legislative plan to try to get the money to get the cemetery here well before the plug was finally pulled in Irvine. And so they have been here and supportive, here in spirit, supportive in actual fact of this site now for years. We are on the cusp of getting it done finally. Why? We are on the cusp of getting it done because finally, the Irvine City Council, the veterans, the folks who have for years been trying to get a cemetery for our veterans, have come together and said this site, the county site, is the right site. So thank you to Andrew Doe and to Lisa Bartlett, to DA Todd Spitzer, who is here, to Assistant DA Sean Nelson, who is here, who voted for this site originally. Thank you to my Vice Chairman of the Board, Doug Chafee, and to my colleague, Katrina Foley. She and I are new to this process, but all of us are supportive of getting the site here. Thank you. Thank you to the federal leaders. I'm going to read a statement in a few minutes from Young Kim. Lou Correa called me the other day and said, I got to be in Washington. I got to do votes, but I'm with you in spirit. I want to get this site done. We've got state leaders. The local assemblyman, Stephen Choi, I got a letter I can give out to the media where he's expressed his support for this site. Assemblywoman Sharon Quirk Silva, who has been so supportive of a vet cemetery, tried to get it done in Irvine. Sharon is with us at this site. Senator Josh Newman represents a district right over the freeway. His constituents will be able to look up on this gorgeous site. Senator Newman is with us. So we have federal leaders, we have state leaders. I already told you the county's here. And now we've got the municipal leaders. The city of Irvine officials are saying, we want a vet cemetery. Mike Carroll is here. Tammy Kim is here from the Irvine City Council. A couple of them are traveling. They couldn't join us today. And the host city, Anaheim, is here. You're going to hear in a minute from Councilmember Trevor O'Neill. We're in his district. The city of Anaheim is here. So we've got federal leaders, we've got state leaders, we've got county leaders, we've got city leaders. And then importantly, maybe most importantly, you see Nick Baradino from Valor. And if I start naming people, I'm gonna miss them. You've got Bill Cook, who's been with me, or actually has been leading me when I was in the state legislature, then mayor now. Bill Cook is here, Bob Brower is here. The Orange County veterans community has Bobby McDonald as chairman of their committee. Bobby is here. Bobby is the first person to come to me and say, hey, think about the Gypsum Canyon site before I was even a supervisor. Everybody is here saying this is the site, now is the time, let's get it done. And finally, we have leaders from the Orange County Cemetery District. They are important players in this. They are fully behind this site. Bill Nelson, this is his district. He represents this area, is here. The executive director, Tim Deutsch, is here. Folks, for the first time, we have everybody who matters at all levels of government, and importantly in the veterans community, saying this is the place, now is the time, let's get it done. That's what we're here for today. So thank you to all of you for coming out. I've now gone way off script. Let me see who I have to introduce that I didn't. I'll run through them. The chairman of the Board of Supervisors, Andrew Doe. Andrew, thank you for coming out. The vice chairman of the board, Doug Chafee. Doug, thank you for being here. Supervisor from the 2nd District, Katrina Foley. Katrina, thank you. The supervisor from the 5th District, here when this first started, Supervisor Lisa Bartlett, thank you for being here. On the board at the time, as I mentioned, we have Todd Spitzer, the current DA. Todd, thank you for being here. His assistant, also on the board, as I mentioned, Sean Nelson is here. Sean, thank you. From the city of Anaheim, the mayor is traveling. The Mayor Pro Tem, Steve Fessel, is here. Steve, thank you for coming out. I also mentioned from the Anaheim City Council, Trevor O'Neill. We are in his district. The Vice Mayor of Irvine, Tammy Kim. Council Member Mike Carroll. I mentioned that we have Congresswoman Young Kim. From her office, we have Lynette Choi here. From the office of Josh Newman, we have Nathan Bass. From Assemblymember Choi, Jose Martinez. I mentioned from the Cemetery District, Bill Nelson. If I missed any of the electeds, apologies. That happens when you start naming them, but thank you all for your support. And then, of course, we've got the veterans organizations. You'll be hearing from a couple of them in a few minutes. Real quick, a statement from Congresswoman Young Kim, who has joined with Lou Correa in pushing this at the federal level. I want to thank Supervisor Don Wagner for organizing this event and county officials, as well as the OC Veterans Memorial Park Foundation, Veterans Alliance of Orange County, and other veterans groups for their hard work on pursuing a veterans cemetery in Orange County. I am so thrilled that we are moving forward with a veterans cemetery in Anaheim. This is a long time coming, and it is about time. Building a veterans cemetery to honor the veterans who have served our country has been an issue close to my heart and a priority of mine since my time in the Assembly. As a wife, this is her talking, and sister to veterans, I personally understand the courage and sacrifice of those who serve our country. We are the land of the free because of the brave, and our veterans deserve a resting place in Orange County that honors their sacrifice and where their family and friends are able to pay their respects. She continues, I will do everything I can to support this project and look forward to working with officials at every level and community organizations to make sure we see a completed Orange County cemetery here. Thank you very much. Now, I am being told, because I got off script, thank you, that I have missed some very important issues. One, of course, is that before I started rambling, we should have done a Pledge of Allegiance. And we should have presented the colors. I won't start all over again, but I will stop us appropriately and call up my friend Bobby McDonald to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance after VFW Post 9934 presents the colors. So, apologies for keeping this so long. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would please stand if you're able. Gentlemen, present the colors.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. What a fantastic and gorgeous day to be here for a press conference for our veterans and military personnel to have a cemetery here in Anaheim. I know that 3 days from now we'll be celebrating the birth of our nation, and what a great day for us to be celebrating our victory here at the Anaheim site for veterans. Take a look at our flag. remember those veterans that have lost their lives, but also remember the good things we're doing today. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now to sing the national anthem, Miss Maria Elena Banks. And I would like to remind the veterans out there, by act of Congress, veterans are allowed to render hand salute during the Pledge of Allegiance, during the national anthem. Marina.
Please join me. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, sir. Back to you. Thank you.
You all may be seated. Thank you for coming out here. I got a little off script here, so you've heard from me. There are a few other folks that you do need to hear from because they are critical to the final push for this project. And I want to bring up to you right now Marine Corps veteran and president of the Veterans Alliance of Orange County, Nick Baradino. Nick? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to get out my cell phone and look at my notes. I want to thank all of you for being here. I want to thank all the elected officials for being here. I want to thank special people that have worked so very hard for such a very, very long time. You know, Bill Cook has been here fighting this thing for I don't know how long. He got the rest of us involved in it. Our wives all hate him. But we are doing everything we can. And I want to say that in Irvine, our struggle was a blessing. We have to look at that as veterans and consider what a blessing, because it was going through that fight. It was going through that hell of repeated ballot initiatives and other kinds of initiatives. We have been virtually kicked off all three sites by one group or another. By one group or another have kicked us off all three sites, or threatened to kick us off. And now we face incredible litigation. And for those of you vets that you know, when we were in Vietnam, we used to say, when we die and go to heaven, St. Peter, we will tell. Another veteran reporting, sir, I've served my time in hell. I used to think that applied to Vietnam until I tried to get a cemetery in Irvine. So it's become obvious that a regional effort is what's going to be required to get this done. It's going to be all of us moving together. But we have one voice. Veterans have found their voice. And we let the world know. I'll make an announcement right here. Everybody know. We fought to protect that democracy. And now we will access it. And how are we going to access it? No more lies. No more hide the football. No more. We will be talking to those who oppose us. We will be talking to them directly. We will be BCCing all of you so you can see the responses from those who oppose us. And you can know who our friends are, and you can know who our friends are not. Thank you. God bless you. God bless America, and we're going to take this hill.
Try as I might, that's what's going to be shown on the news tonight. But he's right, and it should be, and his message is spot on. Let me take a second now to introduce our next speaker, someone else who has been in this fight from the word go. He is a Marine Corps veteran and chairman of the Orange County Veterans Memorial Park Foundation. He is Bill Cook. He is my friend. Bill, come on up.
Hi, I'm Bill. Back in 99, when Brea took down El Toro, there were a number of us, a lot of us scattered voices in the wilderness, who really felt that that would be the ideal site for a veterans cemetery in Orange County, which Orange County did not have. Nick and I are both veterans of El Toro. We flew out of El Toro to Vietnam. When we first met our timelines, we found our timelines crossed so closely, we could have possibly been on the same airplane. We'll remember some that we flew out of El Toro with to Vietnam. That was the last time they stood alive on American soil. So El Toro, for many, many years, was in our heart. That was where our cemetery had to be, but our heart's been broken. And we kind of got over it a while ago and came out here, and we've known about this site for a while. And when Tim gave us the first tour out here in those Humvees, and we rode to the top of the hill, and he said to us, guys, here it is, what do you think? You get first pick of the land. And we said, we want the high ground, of course, as you can see on the map. And I want you to go into your mind's eye and think what this is going to be like up on that upper hilltop with rows of white veteran headstones that are shining in the setting sun for all the people that are commuting back to Riverside County to ponder on for 45 minutes every night. It's going to be spectacular. This is a beautiful site. Not only that, we were asked to consider if our local allies, the Rocks and the Arvins, could find a place to rest next to us. And we thought that was one of the most noble ideas we had ever heard, and we agreed to that. And they will have a space, not in the State Veteran Cemetery, but in the Orange County Cemetery District Cemetery, to be honored as well in Orange County. Nobody can hear me? That's okay. Do you want me to start over? Thank you. I want to thank everyone. When we reached out for support to see if everybody would support this cemetery, this site, I'll tell you, it came in a flood. Thank you all. Thank all you organizations. I want to thank my uncaged friends who showed up today. Expected a few more of them, but thank you all. So, thank you, sir.
All right, we have up next to speak with us an Air Force veteran and resident of the Great Parks neighborhoods, Phil Fuchs. Phil? Come on forward, Phil.
Thank you, Don Wagner, Councilman, for pulling this all together in your district. I never thought that we'd ever really get a veteran cemetery in Orange County because of all of the trials and tribulations that we went through over multiple years in Okay. All right. So I really want to thank again
Council Member Don Wagner and the other elected officials of the county and cities that are supporting this. As I said, I have a different perspective. I have lived in the Great Park neighborhoods. I would have been directly impacted. People that I live with all the time had children that would have been impacted by the veteran cemetery. It was just a sort of a terrible situation. I think one of the city council members, I think it was one of the representatives, said that it's like putting a square peg in a round hole, and that was really the case. So I love this site. It is beautiful, and I would be honored. I will be honored when I am laid to rest here. It's a beautiful place. So I think to coin a phrase, let's get going with it. Let's make this a reality, and let's have it be that way.
And at this point, I recognize that we have from Congressman Correa's office a representative who is going to say a few words on behalf of the congressman. There are a couple of introductions I missed, and I knew I was going to do this, and I apologize for it. We have from Huntington Beach, Councilmember Mike Posey is here. Mike, thank you. And the mayor of the city of Brea, Steve Vargas, is here. Steve, thank you. I knew I was going to miss that. And then I've got from Congressman Correa's office, Jose Guevara is here to say a few words on behalf of the congressman. Jose, thank you.
Good morning. I'll make it quick because it's getting warm. See everybody sweating already. Hello, my name is Jose Guevara. I am Congressman Correa's field representative, and I'm also a proud Marine Corps veteran of the Iraqi War. Thank you. So the following message is from Congressman Correa. Thank you for the most important work making the Orange County Veterans Cemetery a reality. For the better part of the decade, the quest to build a veterans cemetery in Orange County has been a tremendous one that has resulted in the waste of time and money. In Congress, I had the honor of serving on the House Veterans Affairs Committee, where I visited national cemeteries as an oversight responsibility. I had the privilege to tour national cemeteries in Europe, where I was amazed to learn that local communities took it upon themselves to ensure that the cemeteries were kept in pristine conditions at all times. Europeans, not Americans, clearly understood the price paid by Americans during the Great Wars. We as a county must do better for our veterans. Recently, the county of Orange has taken steps to move forward on implementing a veteran cemetery in Anaheim Hills. The parcel of land is county owned and zoned for cemetery use. This county land would be a great final resting place for our veterans. The city of Anaheim has also signaled its intent to support this initiative and other public officials, as well as a significant number of veteran organizations. I hope to share the privilege as an Orange County resident to have a final resting place for our veterans. Thank you.
I got to tell you, over a year ago, Congressman Correa was the first federal official to contact me and say, let's get this site going. So Congressman Correa has been with you veterans from the word go on this. So thank you, Jose, for those words. Where are we on the script? We are in Gypsum Canyon. I want to call to the podium next my friend who's been leading the Board of Supervisors in this effort and in so much more, from the 1st District, Supervisor Andrew Doe.
Thank you very much, Supervisor Wagner. And thank you very much for the introduction to the event, and also to put in context all of the people that have stood together in order to put an event like this together, and in the project that you see before you. Let me share with you why it's such an important occasion for me today. 46 years ago, it was a military van that came to my house, my family home in Vietnam, to say, you need to get out. You're about to lose your freedom. And so we left Vietnam in 75, and I was very fortunate to be in Washington, D.C. to celebrate our bicentennial anniversary of the founding of our nation. And now 45 years later, to be a part of the establishment of the first veteran cemetery here in Orange County is a privilege that's beyond description for me. And we have always thought that this site is perfect for the veteran cemetery. And I was so glad that my colleague Dan, Supervisor, now DA Todd Spitzer, came to me, and together we jointly proposed this site. And we have been pushing hard, and guess what? Irvine's loss is our gain. And I'm so happy to be here to standing with all of you. And we will make this happen. And to see the support pouring in from all levels of government, it gives me hope that I think we finally now get that critical mass of support that this will happen very soon. So I look forward to that. Thank you.
And let me bring up now our district attorney, who was so instrumental in working with Chairman Doe to get this site on the books and make this a reality. We are here today in part because of the work of now District Attorney Todd Spitzer.
Yeah, you did, okay? You just don't think we know you did it, okay? Wow. More than 4 years ago, I came out here all by myself when Mr. Bren told the County of Orange that he was going to walk away from his development on Mountain Park, which was supposed to be residential and commercial right here in this area. As a policymaker, I wanted to ensure, and the person that represented Irvine as a city as well, that I respected the process. At the same time, I was incredibly frustrated to watch the fact that this county that grew El Toro and Marie Court Air Station Tustin and Los Alamitos and Camp Pendleton to the south could not find a solution to a veteran cemetery as one of the most respected, dedicated veterans and military communities that has ever sent individuals overseas to fight for this country. This county has benefited, but the whole world and the country has benefited from Orange County, California, and we couldn't solve that problem. And I walked out here and I walked into those hills by myself. And I prayed. And I asked myself a fundamental question. What should I do as a person now who is being asked to help Mr. Bren dedicate this land and get his, quite frankly, his tax entitlements, his tax benefits from agreeing to open space? And I went back to Mr. Bren, which is not an easy thing to do. And I said, we will not accept your dedication. And Mr. Bren is not a person that is used to being told no. And he said, why? And I said, we will only agree to accept this land if you dedicate a parcel of acreage for a veteran cemetery. I do not know what the outcome is, and Mr. Bren fought for our country. He served in the military. He was a Marine, and he understood very clearly and very quickly that we needed to do this. And so I came out here, and this is what I prayed about. I prayed that our military men and women have fought for our constitutional rights. They've given to all humans, no matter what your color is, what your skin color is, your race, what your eyes look like, who you love, or the way you look. That flag means something. Those stars and stripes mean something. And then I closed my eyes and I heard sounds. I heard the sounds of planes flying overhead and helicopters. And I heard bodies falling and men crying and their comrades next to them who had seen those fallen and those men losing their lives there to pick them up. And in 2008, when then Chairman Doe and I brought this to the Board of Supervisors, and by the way, it passed unanimously with Lisa Bartlett and Michelle Steele and Sean Nelson and Andrew Doe. And when we looked at this and I thought about that, I said, my God, to God, these men and women have fought for our country, have gone overseas, have left their families, have not been there to watch their children being born, who have raised children without their parents. And we can't bury them with dignity and respect in our own county? Help us, God. Please help us, God. And Nick Baradino, I have his letter from the agenda item in 2008. We passed this on December 4th, 2018. I said 2008, 2018. It feels like 2008. And Nick said something I'll never forget. I knew it, but I'll never forget. He said, can you just have our backs, please? We came back in 1968 and 1969 to a country that turned its back on us. One of the darkest moments in American history with respect to its veterans. And I said, I will be damned if I turn my back on the individuals who provided our freedoms, this flag, this country, this nation, this state, and this county. I will never, ever, ever turn my back on them because they never turn their backs on us, for God's sakes. So I'll just say this, and Colonel Cook said this. Take in this space. Take it in today. And tell me that it isn't one of the most fitting resting places. Because if you believe in heaven, and I do, then this is the porch. God bless all of you.
I mentioned before, it bears repeating, we are in the city of Anaheim. We are in the district of Anaheim. Council Member Trevor O'Neill. Trevor, if you would come on up and say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Wagner, for organizing this great group of supporters, elected officials, and veterans who are dedicated to bringing this veteran cemetery here to our region. Thank you also to the Irvine Company for dedicating this land to the county, and to the city of Irvine for not reaching a consensus on any one of your proposed sites. I do want to recognize my council colleague, Steve Fessel, Anaheim's Mayor Pro Tem. He's a great supporter of veterans as well. Thank you for being here, Steve. Our mayor, Harry Sadu, often says, Anaheim is open for business. Today, Anaheim is open for veterans. We have nearly 10,000 veterans within the city of Anaheim. So it's truly an honor to be a part of something that can serve those veterans and their families for generations. My grandfather was a veteran. My father is a veteran. And so the opportunity to bring a veteran cemetery here to my family's home in Anaheim Hills is truly something special. This site has seen a number of proposed uses over the years. Originally, it was part of the Rancho Santiago de Santa Ana land grant given to Jose Antonio Yorba Linda, right? It was a long-time gypsum mine and a sand and gravel operation, as we know. It was the proposed site of a county jail in the 1980s. And for stopping that project, we have to thank the advocacy of former U.S. Ambassador and then Supervisor who represented this district, who we all know, Gaddy Vasquez. Thank you, Gaddy. And it was most recently a proposed 2,500 home residential neighborhood, Mountain Park. But the most noble use of this property is before us today as the Veterans Cemetery. Those who fought to defend our freedoms are truly treasures to our nation, and it is an honor to provide a final resting place for them here in the city of Anaheim. I'm extremely proud that this is the site that in my district, in Anaheim Hills, and that's why I'm bringing a resolution to the Anaheim City Council later this month to support the Veterans Cemetery and commit the city of Anaheim to take a proactive role in helping to bring this project to fruition. Thank you again, God bless, and thank you, veterans, for your service.
I knew I'd do it. 2 more elected officials I forgot. And frankly, they're the most important to me because they serve on my staff as well. Former mayor and current councilwoman from the city of Yorba Linda, Tara Campbell. Tara, thank you. And the current mayor of the city of Lake Forest, Scott Voits. A couple of other quick points, because I've already kind of had my say, and then we'll open it up for questions. And it is this. Not long after I took office as a supervisor, I had a already scheduled trip to Washington, D.C. It was just my daughter and I. We met in D.C., and I made sure on that trip that we had a chance to visit Arlington Cemetery. And when you see Arlington and that hallowed ground, you have a model. Not all veteran cemeteries can be like Arlington, but it is a model. And I picture when I come here, those rolling hills, those honored graves decorating those hills, and recognize that we can, at this site, do something that echoes Arlington and appropriately thanks the veterans for the service they've rendered, not just to us, but to all of the world. The United States military is the greatest force for good on the planet today. And the men and women who've served and spread that good deserve a dignified burial spot. This is it for them. Colonel Cook mentioned El Toro and the emotional draw that space has to veterans. In many ways, it is very sad that we cannot realize the vision of bringing the veterans back to El Toro for a final resting space. But I got to give credit where it is due. One of my staff members, Martin Gardner, came to me with, I think, a brilliant idea, and I promise as we go forward to work on that. The idea is this. Look, Irvine, and we have Tammy Kim, we have Mike Carroll here. As you build out the great park, you are going to rip up the runways. You are going to be taking down some of those buildings. They will be recycled. Is it possible, and I pledge to work on it, that we bring some of that material here, incorporate that material into some of the buildings and the monuments? If we can't bring the vets to El Toro, let's bring El Toro to our veterans. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. Chairman Doe talked about this. If you are in a spot of trouble anywhere on this planet, and you see that flag coming over the hill, you are either very glad to see it or the cause of the problem. It is time to put that flag on that hill and bring the veterans the cemetery they deserve. Anyone have any questions? Happy to take them. Sir. What we need to do to turn this in from a rendering into reality is to, of course, get through the planning process. Government will have its say on the planning process. The biggest obstacle right now is going to be funding the project. There has been talk about money coming in from the state. There has been fundraising efforts that others have undertaken. We are hopeful to get the state, which currently has said there is some money available to study Irvine. They've studied it. They've come up with numbers that are just undoable in the city of Irvine. We now need to get them to pivot, do the study that is here for a site here, and put the money that had been promised, but actually never in the budget, despite what others might tell you, get that money into the budget for here. We also will have a lot more fundraising efforts that we need to do. I am hopeful the Veterans Administration in Washington will help us on that subject real quick. The idea that Congressman Correa and Congresswoman Kim and others are pushing this does give me confidence some of that money will be available. I myself have spoken to the head of the Cemetery Division of the Veterans Administration, and he told me flat out they will not fund a Superfund cleanup site, which is essentially what Irvine was. There are no environmental concerns here. I'm optimistic with the help of Congressman Correa, Congresswoman Kim, and others, we can get some federal funding for this. Biggest obstacle is going to be money. We're going to surmount that obstacle. Anything else? Well, is there an estimated budget? And the answer is yes, but the budget's got a number of components. There will also likely be, and the cemetery district is here for that reason, a public component to this. We're looking to start with the veterans first. There's an awful lot of work that needs to be done to fix the site up. At this point, it would be premature to give you that estimate. I was in a meeting with Chairman Doe and our CEO when were we there? Tuesday? 2 days ago? And we are working on estimates. Yes, there will be cost estimates coming. You asked timeline. The goal would be, my goal would be to break ground by the end of the year. That is a goal. It is not a promise, but that absolutely is the goal. Anything else? Sir, the entire site is over 260 acres. The veterans component will be around 100, maybe a little bit more. And the component for the veterans, according to the VA's requirements, as I understand them, is you must have enough space to bury veterans for 100 years. So whatever the final count is, and it is roughly 100 acres, will be enough to put veterans in this hallowed ground for 100 years. Back there. There is no discussion yet about county general fund money. We're waiting to see that analysis that we're going to be getting from Frank Kim and maybe make some decisions at that point. I had a question over here. The answer to that is, did I want to champion this site because I saw the roadblocks as the mayor of Irvine? The short answer is yes. The longer answer is that the site picked out, that Valor supported, that the Veterans Memorial Committee in Irvine supported, the Strawberry Fields site was a fantastic site. All of us were supportive of it. When it went down to defeat, I said as mayor at the time, I think that is the death knell for a cemetery in Irvine. It took a few years for folks to recognize that, but that was the death knell, and that's why we're here now. In the back. Will there be a columbarium? I believe so, yes. Anything else? You guys are too easy. Councilman, Mayor Vargas.
I just want to say that when Democrats and Republicans work together, this is what's going to be accomplished. Thank you for setting this up and making it go together.
This is an utterly bipartisan, nonpartisan event because when you go into the military, you do not have to talk about your registration. They don't send you out depending on whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. We are not going to bury people depending on whether they are a Republican, a Democrat, or anything else. Ladies and gentlemen, this is for the veterans who serve all of us. Anything else? Other questions? Thank you all.